illuminate that for us. Sometimes our fears will actually illuminate what our purpose is, and the reason for that is sometimes the thing that you most fear in life is actually what your purpose is, and then that kind of makes a bit of an oxymoron. And the reason for that is, I mean, for me, the thing that I feared the most in my life was actually what would life be like sober? What would life be like completely clean here in the now, not feeling the sort of false sense of security that the alcohol would give me. I'm all alone, kind of alone. I was alone with my emotions. What would life be like if I had to face it, not stimulated by anything? And that for me was extremely fearful. And I was sharing with the table at the front before that sometimes the biggest fear in life is the fear of what we may become, the fear of our own potential, not the fear of what it is that we're holding ourselves to now. So I hope that you all grabbed a symbol that talked about what that fear is, because what we're going to focus for the next half an hour is how we can overcome that fear. And funny enough, we'll grab one more toy before the day is out to demonstrate what that process may be. I want to share with you though another little video.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
So what was Yoda trying to teach Luke Skywalker in that scene? What was he trying to teach? Can anyone remember? Forgiveness? Sorry? To not fear his potential? Absolutely. Yeah? What's the linkage there? Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to... Sorry? Fear is... Prolonged fear absolutely is bad. Prolonged fear does lead to anger. And prolonged...
We are creating our own suffering?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So this is where the linkage between Buddhism and the Jedi faith just sort of comes full circle. And what I want to focus on here is, before our break, we all talked about the fact that we have a fear. And some of us, sometimes our potential is reflected in our biggest fear. And that's what keeps us staying stuck in the rut. And so when we are prolonged in any fear, it will lead to some anger and frustration. And who do you think you normally direct that anger and frustration towards?
People around you.
People around you? Yourself. Yeah? You direct it towards yourself. Yeah? And if you end up spending your life doing a lot more in your doing space rather than your being space, you bet. A lot of frustration comes out of that. A lot of frustration. So, fear, prolonged fear, not just the fear of running across the Westgate Freeway just over there, this prolonged fear about being in a situation where you know you're unhappy and you're not doing anything about it. Prolonged fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. So have I just described the madness of the Western world? Yeah? Now we're probably coming into more the Buddhist view. And that's the wisdom of it. And this is why fear itself, ironically, there's actually nothing wrong with fear. Fear is just an emotion. But if you live in that emotion, if you spend all of your time, your awareness, your consciousness in that emotion, then it's going to have an outcome. Fear is just as good as a creator as love. Absolutely. Fear has potential. Fear is a reflection of your potential. So what I want to do now is, if you've identified a symbol, let's just share that symbol. Let's just talk about what that symbol means to you. What does that fear look like? And then what I want you to do is to help each other, counsel each other, offer some advice at the table and around what could you do to overcome that fear. To literally place that fear right there in front of you and just to step over it. What could we do? So, first part, talk about the toy that you have in front of you. Acknowledge the fear. Be honest about it. Respect it. Say, this is exactly what I'm feeling. I'm honest with myself. I feel the fear. And believe it or not, boys can do this exercise too. We can connect to our emotions. See, I told you I was going to share my feminine side. So let's be honest about the fear, and then let's help each other at the table. Each table here has got 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 very wise people that have followed their heart up until this point. Yeah? And I'm sure someone can help you with some advice on how to overcome that fear. Let's spend 5 minutes on that. Let's go for it.